Yes, my name is Janet Briggs and I am the Community Dementia Advisor and I'm employed by Oxfordshire County Council. My role really has been going now for almost 2.5 years, and it's designed as information advice. The idea of helping people remain at home for as long as possible with support for themselves and also for the carers.
My name's Rose Butterworth and I work as a dementia advisor but for Age UK, and I am based with memory clinics in the south. So I do a very similar job to Janet, just I'm based in a different place.
I see.
In the clinics.
And as you said, both of you, your main role is advice and signposting rather than any hands-on support.
That's right, yes. It's not a hands-on supporting role, but it would be helping people, showing them how to access that if that's what's required.
How would the referral process work? What would GPs have to do?
Well, it's a straightforward one-page referral form. All I simply would need would be the name, address and date of birth of the person who has the dementia, regardless of what kind of dementia it is, but also as important as the details of the carers, because I would have to contact them.
And then
I would then contact the carer, have a chat with them, try to get a little bit more information what's actually going on, then I'd make arrangements to call and see them. I can see them at home, I can see them in GP surgery, or I can see them if they want to go to a coffee shop, for example, somewhere where they're feeling comfortable. That's the most important thing.
I see. And then how would the practice know that you've made contact with them?
Well, simply once I have met with the carer and if it's required with the person with dementia, I would give them the information as is necessary, and then I would get back to the GP who had referred to me, usually by an email to the practice manager, and just let them know what has happened and I had been, and any relevant information I thought that they should actually know.
This is where a family wanted to get in touch with you again. Are they able to do so?
Yes, they can. They can get in touch with me and I can explain to them the best way to actually come back to me again. It could be very straightforward to do, but my door, as far as OCC is concerned, is always open.
What sort of things do you tend to cover on the first assessment for a newly diagnosed person?
Again, that's picked up by actual conversation, because there's so much there. I always say people don't know what they don't know until they have a conversation with somebody like me, and it all comes out then. It could be anything really. It could be to do with benefits, it could be to do with power of attorney, it could be to do with that they're looking at maybe getting some care in.
And Rose, do you cover similar things in an initial assessment?
Yes, I'd say Janet and I will cover exactly the same types of areas, and I think as Janet said, it's talking to the person and working out what sort of things they want to know at that time, but making them aware that they can contact us again in the future if questions arise.
And if the issue is mainly to do with entitlement to benefits and so on, how do you advise them then?
Yeah, there's certain benefits that we will talk about. Attendance allowance is a benefit for someone with care needs, so we'll often talk to people about that if it's appropriate at the time, but we'll often refer on, and I know Janet will do this as well, to Age UK benefits advisors for a full benefit check if that's necessary.
And the Age UK benefit advisor would have an interview with the family or
Yes,
carer?
they have a service where they will help with form filling or also a benefit check service.
I see.
Often you can access that by calling the Age UK helpline.
I see. And do you tend to address issues to do with power of attorney quite soon after diagnosis?
Yes, I would say there's some things that we like to talk to people about at an early stage, and power of attorney would be one of those. There's two types, a property and affairs power of attorney, that's the finance one, and a personal welfare power of attorney. I think our role is giving information. There's a very good Alzheimer's Society fact sheet that's very clear about what the types are and how to go about taking one out and where to find out about fees. And it's something that needs to be done in advance of needing it, so we would want to talk to people at an early stage about it.
And if it's got to the stage where someone has evidently lost capacity, what happens then?
Then it's a more complicated situation where they would need to use the court of protection to help someone with their finances.
And for people living in the community who then start to have care needs, maybe their carer needs a break or they want to go away on holiday, what sort of services can you put them in touch with?
Well, I would give them information on what would be probably the best thing for them at that time, and I would talk to them about how they would access those services. It could be respite care, it could be domiciliary care for a few times a week. Again, it really depends on the issue at that time, but there's lots of things out there to help people that are struggling. We can put them in touch with befrienders if they just need a little bit of time to themselves. So it is quite easy, and that's a big part of the job that I do actually in the community, working with the carers, supporting the carers, which is obviously very important, access to grants and access to training and different courses as well is something that I would help them with.
And for people who are not self-funding, would you liaise with social services on their behalf?
Because I don't actually give that kind of hands-on support, or wouldn't implement that. I would talk them through the best way to do that. And if it obviously was a very urgent case, if it be safeguarding or someone needed an urgent social work assessment, then I would either help them with it or I would do it myself. But again, I have to address that situation as it arises. But it is very easy for the person themselves to ask for an actual social work assessment by the actual social care team.